Hey guys, what's up? What is good? What is going on? It's me, Kitty Leash here with a complete anime review of the Junji Ito collection. You can find the series on Crunchyroll. That's how I watched it. I got to watch all 12 episodes, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys my honest review on the whole series. Myself being a huge Junji Ito fan, I was really excited once I heard that he was going to be having an anime series. There was an old take on Gyo that was done by like a really strange animation company done way back in the past, and it was not good. Like I don't recommend checking that out, but still, it's Junji Ito. So I had to watch it, and I watched it, and I was very disappointed. So I was really hoping that this Junji Ito collection was going to be amazing. Myself being a Junji Ito fan, it all started back with Tomie. I had a huge obsession with Asian horror films, so I bought the whole Tomie collection, and from there I started getting into Uzumaki, Gyo, and all of his other short stories. So I do have a pretty decent Junji Ito collection. If anybody is interested in seeing that, let me know. Maybe I could do a video sometime. So the Junji Ito collection features a collection of Junji Ito works. Many of the stories could be found right here in one of his latest books, Shiver. Shiver features about 12 or 13 short Junji Ito stories, and a lot of them are actually in the Junji Ito collection. And there's also a few that are from Fragments of Horror, also by Junji Ito. So if you haven't read those, definitely check them out. They're two of his latest mangas to come out, and they're both really good. There's amazing short stories in both of them. So the Junji Ito collection takes a few stories from there and basically animifies them, if that's a word. Each story in the Junji Ito collection is different. There's no timeline for when things are happening. There's some stories that you're going to recognize right off the bat. Each episode runs about 28 minutes or so, and they feature 2 episodes within one, all short stories. I feel like Junji Ito's work, with him being a master of horror, it was kind of portrayed okay through anime form. I feel like it definitely translates a lot better through manga. If you're unfamiliar with any of his work, you know, he does a lot of grotesque body horror. There's a lot of like distress and gruesome things that happen, and Junji Ito is able to tell such amazing tales through this. What shines here is not necessarily always the story, but more of the horror and how it's conveyed, and how he just has an amazing ability to just make you feel so creeped out from reading a story. One of the creepiest things I remember reading was, of course, Gyo. That was always one of the creepiest to me. Uzumaki was just terrifying, and Tomie it's amazing. I love Tomie. She's probably my favorite out of all of them, but Junji Ito has a way of just making these stories so creepy. And it also reminds me of these stories, if you remember, like when you were young, you used to read these scary stories to tell in the dark books. I feel like Junji Ito is like the godfather of just creating these creepy stories that totally remind me of like these books, and I was obsessed with these books when I was younger. So I think that's why I gravitate towards Junji Ito so much, because he can just make creepy and make it so well. Junji Ito has a way of creeping you out with like some of the most simplest things. There's no ghosts, there's no demons, there's no massive effects or anything. It's just people, ordinary kind of messed up people going through regular life, running into these terrible situations. He makes something to the extreme. Someone could have an illness, and the illness is coming out of their body, it's coming out of their mind, their soul, their speech, and everything. And it's just like, how do you do that? Like, you are a master of horror to be able to convey something dramatic and huge from just something kind of small. There are stories here for everybody, and stories that will creep you out no matter what your taste is. So you've got a huge mishmash of just creepy Junji Ito stories with the Junji Ito collection. The first one opens up with a boy who is really creepy. He doesn't have any friends. Nobody really likes him, and for good reasons. He has these voodoo dolls of kids in his class and people he knows, and he kind of sticks pins in them and everything, and stuff starts happening to them in real life. You have other beloved stories. There's a Tomie story in there. There's Fashion Model, which is probably one of my favorite Junji Ito ones, with this model who is pretty ugly looking, but I don't know, she just has this crazy thing about her, and she actually ends up being like a monster in a way. You have some stories of body horror with just lots of grotesque things happening. Like, I'm talking about leeches going down people's throats, weird formations forming out of people's bodies that are totally inhuman, and so on and so forth. So you get about 12 episodes, each with 2 each, so it's about 24 different ways to get scared. And I will say, honestly, a lot of them were good. And there were some that were kind of like a bit of a miss. Some of the lesser scary stories were in here. They made it in here somehow. I don't know why, but they did. And one thing to keep in mind is that when you're going into the Junji Ito collection, not everything that you're going to watch is going to be super terrifying. And I would have said, if I was like on the production crew, the first episode was not the best. It was definitely one of the weakest episodes of the whole series. So if you do watch it, go in with an open mind, but force yourself to watch past episode 2, just because the first episode may really lose you. They do a little bit of comedy in with the horror, and it's not really that scary. So just don't assume that the whole series is going to be like that, because there are some really terrifyingly grotesque stories that come further in. In my opinion, the second episode was probably my favorite. I really liked it. And from there, episode 5 was another one that I really, really enjoyed. I don't want to give too much away, because it's kind of like you just kind of have to sit down and watch it for yourself. All in all, I would say that the Junji Ito anime collection, it was okay. Again, like I said, a lot of his stuff translates a lot better through manga. It's a lot easier to get creeped out by. You know, Junji Ito is all about just creating that element of fear. And I feel like, for some reason, when it comes to anime, it loses a little bit of a fear factor. Like, yes, there are some really terrifying animes out there, but when you get so creeped out from what you read, it's just a totally different vibe than actually seeing something animated. And I feel like his short stories, they're in here, word for word. I feel like they're translated the same exact way in the anime. So it's not like you're getting anything really new. If you are a Junji Ito fan and you've read his short stories, you're not getting a whole lot new besides some movement. That's kind of it. So, all in all, I would probably recommend watching this anime past episode 1, because episode 1 was probably one of the weakest out of the whole collection. And then seeing how you feel about it from there. All in all, I would have to give this series a solid B. It could have been a lot creepier. I would have loved to have seen some works that weren't all from his collections. Like, because again, like, a lot of the stories are from his collection, and it's like, okay, I already know what happens here, I already know what happens here. And reading in the manga the first time was creepy. I was all as hell just creeped out and freaked out. But when it came to the anime, I was just kind of like, okay. I wasn't dying to watch it every week. I almost forgot about it until I was like, oh, okay, oh, a new episode by Junji Ito, cool. It's not something I was like really waiting for to watch. But again, I feel like that's kind of what tends to happen with these horror animes, especially if it's like a collection. You know what you're expecting from a collection. It's not a whole series on something. So it's okay. So the big question is, does the anime work? Kind of. Kind of. From it being such a crazy and creepy manga, it doesn't get a fantastic adaptation, but it's still good. I'd recommend giving it a shot, but it really was not the best anime I watched ever. So, all in all, was it creepy? Yeah, it was creepy, but it wasn't as creepy as reading the manga stories. All in all, the Junji Ito collection, it's okay. I give it a B. Just a B. Nothing fantastic. I would probably own it in my collection just because I'm already a collector of his, so I would definitely love to have it in my collection. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Junji Ito collection, if you do watch it or if you have seen it. Let me know if you don't want to see it now based on my review or anything. Yeah, just give me some feedback. So yeah, guys, I hope that you did enjoy this review. I hope it was pretty insightful. And yeah, that's all for now. Bye!